Welcome back to HMP, everybody. What it do, you dirty babies? Welcome back. Man, oh man, I am hoping that this internet signal is going to be a lot better. I'm hoping because we have done a little reconfiguring, and I think our speeds are going to be a little bit faster now. We're hardwired into the computer and everything, so no more relying on the Wi-Fi gods and everything. We're going straight in, and we'll see how that works out. Let me know in the chat if everything looks and sounds okay. Hopefully it all will, and we can make a day of this. So yeah, thanks you for stopping by and everything. We are doing a lot of cool stuff with the streaming and everything. We appreciate that. We appreciate you guys tuning in for that live show that we did on Sunday, and we'll hopefully be doing more of those as time goes on and everything. So please take an interest. We'd like it. We'd like you to be there when it's happening, man. So like and subscribe over there on the YouTubes or Twitch or Amazon, or which is part of Amazon actually, but I'm gonna get that in just a second. Or over on Kick. So we're all three places. Like and subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. And if you're here, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it for stopping by and everything. We got a whole bunch of bull crap to talk about today, man. A whole bunch of it. And hopefully you can come along for it. Obviously, as you've seen here, the big one is Ryan Coogler is taking a step into the Criterion Closet. We're going to check out and see what he got. I don't know what it is yet. Haven't watched the video, as did I try not to watch any of these things when they first come out because, what would the point of that be? Apparently there was something that went down on Friday the 13th. That was a little jokester sort of thing. We're going to check that out with our old buddy CHH. We're going to talk about Star Wars, man. I know that we got Star Wars fans out there, and something happened over this past weekend that was a pretty interesting event. We're going to check all that out, talk about that, and if whether or not we should string up Kathleen Kennedy. We'll figure it out. And if we have some time, I have some also some videos on speakers and music and stuff like that. I got a whole bunch of things to cover and get through and whatnot here. So I hope we're going to have a really good time today. And again, appreciate you guys liking, subscribing, and all that kind of good stuff. Sharing this with a friend. And of course, allowing me then to make content with this crap afterwards. And that's what it's all about. We're just going to feed that snake round and round. All right. Well, let's get into it. As I said, Star Wars got shown on the big screen in the original form. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there that say, "Oh, I've seen Star Wars on the big screen before." Yeah, but you saw Star Wars on the big screen with a special edition, unless you're quite old. And even then, technically, depending upon when you saw it and stuff, it might have even been changed there. Star Wars is a movie that has changed its identity many, many times, including all of George Lucas's subsequent special editions and things like that. I mean, I remember seeing them in the theater and then them changing it on VHS and then changing on DVD and then changing on Blu-ray. It's a continual cycle with Lucas. He's never been pleased with the thing that he has brought forth to the earth and everything, but he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it anymore, and he doesn't want other people to see it that way. And quite frankly, that is disgusting to me. But let's get into it and see what happened here, because they are remarking. Get this. I got to remove one, add the other. There we go. Star Wars looks terrible in screening of lost original 1977 version. I'm sorry. Do you believe that Star Wars looked bad? The original looked bad? Get out of here, dog. Get out of here. We're going to read all this kind of fun stuff here, so let's check it all out. The years have not been kind to the oft-romanticized original print of the sci-fi classic, which lacks all of George Lucas's post-release tweaks and polishes and looks like a completely different film. Yeah, it looks like a good film. Wow. What a novel concept that we have to make the actual movie look like the movie that was intended to be. Let's read on. An audience was finally permitted to watch the first released version of the film, nearly perfect and unfaded. That's an interesting term. That the creator George Lucas famously suppressed from being publicly shown on a big screen for 47 years. The British Film Institute event was introduced by Lucasfilm boss Kathleen Kennedy, who joked that the screening was, quote, not illegal. Yeah. Kathleen Kennedy says, "Oh, don't worry, this isn't illegal." Or maybe she said that it is legal. So let's do what we are actually supposed to be doing around here, and in learning about some stuff. Let me switch over to the right page, and we're actually going to watch what old Kathleen Kennedy said here and everything, and find out if she is indeed the horrible goblin that everyone's made her out to be. Here's her introduction. Let's get it up on the screen. Here's Kathleen Kennedy's introduction of the original Star Wars.
So thank you. Firstly, thank you so much, because I reached out to you when we were exploring. Everyone here was so excited about the opportunity to show this print, but we really weren't sure we would be able to. So indebted.
Disgusting, by the way. The fact that you just go like, oh, we don't know if we'd be able to show Star Wars to people. Get out of town, dude.
To you, and everyone in the room is indebted to you tonight as well.
Oh, sorry. We do. Thank you so much. Thank you for letting us see the thing that you were supposed to just let us see all the time. Thank you so much for, allowing us to breathe your clean air, Kathleen Kennedy. Thank you.
I did want to start with the elephant in the room around the print. It has become so scarce. How does this version, to start with this version before we talk about the film itself, but how does this version sort of exist as sort of folklore within Lucasfilm now?
Oh, it's incredible folklore. I have to say that even when I came into the company, there was endless conversation about where everything was. And
in the toilet is mostly where I like to keep it.
What was, in fact, the first print. And it's quite remarkable. What you're going to see is, in fact, the first print. And I'm not even sure there's another one quite like it.
Yeah.
It's that rare.
Is this the first print? I don't know about all that. The original OG print from the 70s? That's what they're watching tonight? Maybe if it was like this IB Technicolor print or something like that, which I'm aware that does exist within Star Wars. Outside of that, is it going to look brand new? I don't know about that.
So much tinkering that's gone on over the years.
That's a nice way
and things that George decided, I'm going to change this. I'm going to try that.
I'm just going to spit on your childhood. You know how it is.
And then everybody kind of lost track of what it was. Although I understand, Edgar, are you in here?
Yeah, he's there.
Because your brother is in here, and I understand you may know far more than I do.
I don't want to intro the film.
I don't know what it is.
Well, listen, I feel we could get more value out of this room tonight, but we don't have time. We have to screen it again after this. That just adds to the special nature of this evening.
It is. It's quite remarkable to be able to
bestow upon these little dum-dums the pleasure to watch the film that they grew up with. Congratulations, boys and girls. You've earned it.
Experience this exactly the way it was in 1977.
Then why is it a burden to show us? We've seen it now. I think this is something that we all need to get behind, because you've seen it. You're here, I'm here, we're all here right now, and we see it. She just said it. She just said this thing exists. We're showing it to people. My question then to you, dear listener, why haven't we seen it? Why can't we see this? Why is that not allowed? Is it because George is a piece of crap? It might be. But come on.
This is really special. Really special.
And then in terms of the film itself, I mean, the universe of Star Wars now has become so expanded. And I do want to say Andor has been fantastic.
All right. Listen, at least he didn't say, the Acolyte was great, right? At least he didn't glaze hard in the opposite direction and be like, hey, man, Ahsoka was awesome, right?
Such a fan of Andor. And sort of thinking about how the world has expanded now, I also wondered within, as you bring filmmakers into Lucasfilm to think about making films that add to the Star Wars universe, does the film, not the print, but the film itself, does it exist as the sort of the stone tablet? Do filmmakers go back to it?
No, I would say that this is the film that everyone starts with. When we start talking about story, we start talking about George's intent, what it is we're trying to build off of.
Yeah, but that's also been kind of the problem and stuff as well, is that we have been so married to the world of George Lucas, and that has been a wild detriment to Star Wars, is that we are just beholden to the Skywalkers and everything that the Skywalkers have to do. We're beholden to that for some reason. I don't know why we can't escape it. It feels just like an albatross around our neck that if we could get away from the Skywalkers, my oh my, could we have a flourishing Star Wars universe? And you've seen in things like Andor where it's just like, listen, man, you don't have to have Jedis and whatnot around. You can have a Star Wars universe that doesn't have somebody named Skywalker inside of it. It is indeed possible.
It is the gold standard. There's no question.
And I mean, we'll definitely really experience that. I watched about 5 minutes of this print when we were researching for it, and it is interesting how far back in time it takes you, and you really experience the joy of the sets and the practical effects, where you can enjoyably see the edges of some of them as well. Enjoyably experience the edges. It revolutionized filmmaking at the time.
And again, that's like he's about to probably go into here. This is the thing about it, man, is that it was revolutionary at the time. There are people that went through in ILM and created special effects. They were like, we want to do this sort of thing. They shopped around to other places and they said, hey, can you guys do this? And everybody looked and said, what are you, nuts? We can't do that. These boys got together and with, duct tape and a prayer put together Star Wars and won Oscars for their special effects work. I mean, it's amazing. Stood the test of time and everything. And every single time that George Lucas comes in there and meddles with his stuff, he's spitting in the face of everyone who, worked their asses off in that movie. Now, granted, they also worked their asses off because he yelled at them to do so, because he came in the first time and it was like, all right, let's see what you guys got on all of these effects and stuff. And they like, what the hell is this crap? He was pissed off. He told him to get back to work. So John Dykstra put down the joint for 2 seconds and then decided, hey, maybe I ought to go get to work. And they went to work and they, made the best, science fiction film ever made. And then we rang the shit out of it for the next 50 years.
It revolutionized effects. I wondered what excited you now about the future of cinema and the future.
Money!
Future of.
Well, I think what George created with ILM, and we did a really wonderful documentary, if you haven't been able to see it, in 6-part series on the beginning of ILM. And it really does capture what was so unique about George's vision with where cinema could go. And that's something that we try to carry on in every single thing we do. I mean, it's a constant conversation.
I feel like Marvel and DC are constantly just trying to, movie us to death with things that we don't want, things that no one is really asking for or desires in any way, shape, or form, but you're doing them anyway to, skirt around copyright things. Don't think that we don't know that's what you're doing with the live action stuff. Come on.
Conversation, innovation is something that we know keeps pushing cinema forward. And it's all based on the
past. Choking on her lies. She's choking on the lies. I can't even.
Past, but we're constantly trying to reinvent the future. So,
but still feeling a love for some of the practical effects.
Constantly.
As well.
It's because I think for many of us that kind of came up through what Stephen and George and many of the pioneers of special effects did, it has everything to do with recognizing what's familiar in what you do. So to just make it completely artificial, it loses its soul. And
oh my God, isn't this rich? This is rich coming from the people that put out Ahsoka that just look like a giant, like, advertisement for the volume. It's just like, hey, do you not want to have to design sets or anything? The volume, it's here for your, entertainment engagements. Ugh.
You have to maintain what is real and then build off of that.
And Star Wars is 50.
Star Wars is
in
50.
2
Can you
years.
believe? Well, it's just going to be unbelievable.
That is crazy. So
We're already
Will you bring out the original untouched 50 years later? Will you at least give us a crumb, a morsel, Kathleen Kennedy? Get back a little bit of the goodwill that people, might have had when you first jumped in going like, hey, she's going to be good. She's going to be good, right? Right? I was one of those people.
talking about what that celebration is going to
yeah,
be.
I'm sure that's quite
Yeah.
that's quite a plan. What can you tell us now about the future of Star Wars? What's coming up in the next years? And if you want to tell us anything extra special, that would
We're planning on running everything into the ground as per usual.
it's up to you. What can we look forward to? And what excites you about Star Wars at 50?
Well, what is
I think it's called Put a Chick in It and Make Her Gay.
excites me now is, certainly with the success of Andor, which has really been a 10-year journey, beginning with Rogue One and then building off of that in the series that Tony Gilroy created, has really expanded genres that we can look at and feel that we can tell stories in a galaxy far, far away with many, many different genres. And Jon Favreau working with Mandalorian is very different from what Tony was doing with.
Yeah, but even then, like Mandalorian ended up changing as things went on, and frankly, it kind of lost what it had in the first season. The first season was very much that kind of a lone wolf and cub sort of vibe and everything, and it started to just feel more samey Star Wars, especially by season 3. And at this point, let me ask you guys this, because I sure as shit don't know. Who's excited for the Mandalorian movie? Feels like a little bit displaced out of time, doesn't it?
With Andor, and that explores the genre of Westerns. And that's what George did. He was constantly looking at film and the way stories build off of genre. And I really think that now we're in a position where it broadens the possibilities of stories and filmmakers that we can bring in to tell stories that mean something to them. It doesn't necessarily have to connect to every little thing that's been done in Star Wars.
Yeah.
It can.
You say that, and here's the thing, man. There's so many times where like, oh, it almost comes to fruition that happens, but then it doesn't. It's just like, oh, we're finally stepping out of here, and then the next thing you know, bam, Luke Skywalker up in your business. And it's atrocious. We don't need that anymore. Again, we're all done with it. But I don't know. Maybe they think they're like, a bright or something when they're putting it in there. It's like, oh, look at us. We're clever. We're tying it all in together. We don't need a tie-in, man. We don't need it.
Actually be a standalone story like an Andor, like a Rogue One, that then builds into many, many more.
The standalone, like Rogue One, that led right into New Hope, which was cool. I think we all enjoyed that, but let's not pretend like Rogue One was a standalone thing. Let's not necessarily pretend like Andor itself was a standalone thing. Sure, it was not, directly related, and we didn't see a Skywalker in it, thank heavens. But let's not pretend like that, like we weren't literally on the Death Star, in Andor season 1. So, it's just like, oh, we're trying to get away and do new things. Are you though?
More stories.
So we've got Mandalorian and Grogu next summer.
Yes. Next summer. And then we have Sean Levy, who's here prepping right now with Starfighter. So that begins shooting in September.
I'll say this though. I'm a fan of Sean Levy. I think Sean Levy puts out some pretty good films. I think with kind of the heart of something like Real Steel, I think Star Wars could use a little something like that. And again, Real Steel is also another one of those where they used computer effects, they used practical effects, they did everything in that show, and it shows, because that still to this day, I think it's like 10 years after that movie came out, that movie still looks great.
Which is what
most of the movies that do a combination of the things do continue to look great. That's why, the Lord of the Rings, the original trilogy went on as long as it did. And still, for the most part, everything still looks really, really good on it because they used digital when they had to and, practical when they could.
One of the reasons I'm here.
Yeah.
And we're very excited about that with Ryan Gosling. And we're just putting together the cast. It's going to be pretty great.
Yeah, great. Anything
Is anyone going to not just see Ryan Gosling when Ryan Gosling is in a Star Wars movie?
else you want to tell us?
No, I'm not
about
going to
that?
tell you anything. I'm going to tell you it is Star Wars.
Oh, it's Star. Okay, breaking news. Okay, can I just say thank you again for allowing us to do this evening?
Welcome.
Can we?
Thank you for letting us get all of the crumbs. Thank you so much, Kathleen. We really, really appreciate it. You're such a kindly woman to do us this amazing service and everything. Thank you, Kathleen. You're so great to us, as always. But here's the thing. Let me ask you this: if you heard all this news, if you heard this good stuff, wouldn't that excite you to go see Star Wars? Then I think it would excite most people. But the folks over at the Hollywood Reporter and some of the other folks that are reporting in on this don't feel the exact same way. So let's continue on with this Hollywood Reporter. Blah, 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 blah. An attending film critic from the Telegraph, that should tell you all you need to know, Telegraph, who attended the screening last week, admitted that the unaltered original, quote, looks terrible by modern standards. First and foremost, you're not supposed to be judging a 50-year-old movie by modern standards. If you're judging a 50-year-old movie by modern standards, you need to stop your job because you should not be reviewing films. You shouldn't be in this business because you're an idiot. You are a stone cold ass idiot if that's what you think. Like, oh, this doesn't look as good as modern films. No kidding. No kidding. While fans understandably tend to focus on Lucas's most intrusive creative moves, adding jarring CG versions of Jabba the Hutt, having Greedo shoot first, I'm going to go ahead and let you know right now, boys and girls, that Greedo did not shoot first. Greedo didn't shoot at all. There's only one shot in this movie. Han Solo shoots Greedo. That's it. Nothing else. There's no who shot first. There's only one shot, and the answer is Han friggin' Solo, man. The amount of subsequent polish and tweaks over the years is so extensive that many aspects of the original just look noticeably fake as the egregious CGI. Bullshit. That is, talk about egregious. That's ridiculous. That is an absurd statement that Did you see the original Jabba the Hutt in theaters for the special edition? Did you see it on VHS? Did you see it on DVD? Only when it got to Blu-ray did it start to look halfway decent. And I say halfway because that's as good as you're going to get on that thing. It looks terrible. The scene doesn't need to be in there because it's redundant. In fact, it spoils the reveal of the Millennium Falcon, which is really, really stupid. Han Solo's talking about this great fast ship and everything. He walks out and sees a piece of what he considers to be a piece of garbage. But you let us see the piece of garbage with, this CGI Jabba the Hutt ahead of time. You ruined it. You ruined the movie by trying to go, hey, we got this footage. Maybe we could put Jabba the Hutt in it. You moron. But the CGI, you enjoy the CGI better. That's fine. Quote, I felt like I was watching a completely different film, wrote Robbie Collin, who called the print a joyously craggy, this has got to be an Englishman, stoutily carpentered spectacle that looks more like a fancy dress than a grand sci-fi epic. Oh my God. This guy is up his own ass like I ain't never seen. Every scene had the visceral sense of watching actual people photographed doing actual things with sets and props that had been physically sewn and glued into piece. Exactly. That's exactly why we like Star Wars. The slapstick between C-3PO and R2-D2 looked clunkier and therefore funnier. It looked clunkier. What are you talking about? I know a lot of the changes and stuff like that. Were there changes that they did with C-3PO and R2-D? I don't think so. The Death Star panels were less like supercomputers than wooden boards with lights stuck on, and so better attuned to the frequency of make-believe. It felt like watching a blockbuster in the modern sense of the greatest game of dressing up the desert anyone ever played. I've got news for you, homie. That's called cinema. It's all make-pretend. It's all pretend. It's all make-believe. It's not real. That's congratulations. You put it together. My God. Oh, here we go. This is fun. A vlogger for Cinema Savvy, George Aldridge, who said he's seen A New Hope at least 100 times, said that the screening was incredibly special. Oh, here we go. But there's a but. But likewise made him realize there are so many great changes to the Star Wars films. It's the ones we dislike that have always overshadowed them. He too noted that the print was so radically different that it felt like watching the film for the first time. Okay, watching the film for the first time is a good thing. I don't care what you say. If you say, hey, Adam, would you like to watch Star Wars for the first time? My answer to that's going to be, oh, hells yes, I do. But that's a good thing. But to sit there and say things like, oh, the print was it was so radically different, in what way? So many great changes that we just ignore the good. What are the good ones? What are the good changes in the special edition? I don't know. From day one, George Lucas had been making changes to these films, he said. It hadn't just been that there's one big change here or there. It's been a little nuance. It's been I can't read today. It's been the little nuance. It's been the sound effects. It's been the smallest details, which you don't notice until you don't see it. Aldridge noted the differences like R2-D2. This is a big one. R2-D2 isn't hiding behind rocks when the Tusken Raiders come for them. There are so many things that I noticed in the cantina. There's been cleaning up of James Earl Jones's voice as Darth Vader. Who gives a shit? This again, that is not things that people care about. In fact, things like and it happened a couple of times with R2. Again, if you're not comparing version to version to version, you may not realize what's in there. But first it was like, obviously there's no rocks when R2 is hiding in the cave from the Raiders there and everything. And then there were like a little bit of rock. And then by the end, by the last edition, like there's nothing but like rocks and a like R2-D2's eyeball just kind of poking out from the end there. It's awful, dude. It's so bad. I don't know why anyone would just go like, yeah, no, that's better. That's better. It makes him seem like he's hiding behind a thing. You suck, George Lucas. So ironically, a version of Star Wars that Lucas... Oh, I've got to sneeze. Hold on. At least it's... Trillion, how did he sneak behind those rocks? Exactly. The guy can't even walk. He can't move around or anything, but somehow he can angle himself behind rocks. I always thought that was ridiculous. So ironically, the version of Star Wars that Lucas for so long didn't want it shown seems to give viewers more respect for Lucas due to him gaining some appreciation for his extensive contribution. Blah, 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 blah. That's fine. Congratulations that you're feeling some kind of way about it, George. But what I would like you to do is just release it for everybody in theaters. Release it for everybody at home. Now you can be like me and have like I have a DVD of the Laserdisc, which is anamorphic and pretty cool, but it ain't the same. It ain't 4K, you know? They didn't clean it up. Clean it up. I do. Both reviewers noted, however, that the theater burst into applause when Han Solo, Harrison Ford, shot first during the Greedo confrontation. Enthused Aldridge, Han Solo was so much cooler. Listen, everybody believes that. And again, Han Solo didn't shoot first. He was the only one who shot. Lucas's tweaks to the print began in the very first theatrical release of Star Wars in 1980, re-release in 1981. Until now, the studio has only permitted the screening of the various special editions. BFI negotiated with Disney and Lucasfilm for the rights for a back-to-back screening of the festival's opening night. This particular BFI print was stored for 4 decades at a temperature of 23 degrees Fahrenheit to preserve its quality. And again, this is something that I think is very, very important, is that we have to remember that films need to be preserved. And you know what they also need to be preserved? In digital formats as well. You need to take this print and you need to, digitize it. You need to clean it up as far as, getting rid of scratches, blemishes, anything like that, to give us a nice, clear, unmolested picture. That's what we want. We would like to have that on video. And again, what that will do is help preserve things in the long haul. Think I'm bananas for saying like, oh, if you put it out on DVD and stuff that you're preserving it. If that sounds like an insane statement to you, I want you to remember the Universal fires from years back. Right? It was somewhere in like, I forget if it was like the Back to the Future portion or the King Kong portion, but in Hollywood there, man, buildings caught on fire. Buildings caught on fire, and they played it off like, oh, it was just some stuff that was in there. A lot of recordings from the 60s all the way through the 90s got destroyed, masters destroyed because because of a fire, and we didn't bother to digitize them. What if that happened to this print? What if this print is all of a sudden up here and then gone? It's, scan it. Put these in perpetuity is how we want to see these things. When I bought the 2-disc DVD set of the special edition, I threw out the special edition just kept the DVDs that were not remastered but were unaltered. Here's the problem with that. The problem with that is that they're non-anamorphic. Now, back in the day when we only had 4:3 TVs, what an absolutely acceptable thing. But we all got widescreen TVs now. So what I would suggest to you is put that bad boy inside of your DVD player and watch it on your TV, and then just make sure there's no bricks, because you will throw one at your television when you see what a non-anamorphic 2:3:5 picture looks like on a 16:9 screen. It'll make you just, oh my goodness, it'll make you mad. But we need to continue to store these films for perpetuity. Lucas, over the years, has been rather firm about not screening the original. And when asked in 2004 by the Associated Press why he doesn't simply release the original version along with the special editions, rather grumpily shot back, the special editions that I want. All right, I got to read it in the right George voice here. Hold on. Let me get into character. I got a lot of money, but I don't care about anybody. Got it. The special editions that I want were the one I wanted out there. The other movies on VHS, and if anybody wants it, oh, it's out on VHS. If anyone wants it, that's great. I'm not going to spend we're talking millions of dollars here, the money and time to refurbish that, because to me it doesn't really exist anymore. It's like, this is the movie that I want it to be, and I'm sorry if you saw a half-completed film and fell in love with it. Fuck you, George. Ugh. Oh, that makes me so mad. But I want it to be this way, and I want it to, but I want it to be the way I want it to be. I'm the one who has to take responsibility for it. I'm the one who has to have everybody throw rocks at me all the time. So at least they're going to throw rocks at me. They're going to throw rocks at me for something that I love, rather than something that I think is not very good, or at least something that I think is not finished. Again, I repeat to you, George Lucas, fuck you. It is not your choice, my man. You released it to the public, and at that point, that art is no longer yours. That is ours. That is the collective's. You have given us your art. You've relinquished it at this point. It is out of your hands. You do not get to go back and do revisions. You don't get to just sit there and change it just because you feel like it. This is not, we're not playing kickball and you can just take your ball and go home. That's the end of the article. Oh my God. So, that's it, man. But I'm glad that somebody got to see a print of Star Wars on the big screen and everything. I just wish it was the rest of us. And for the longest time, I've always kind of felt like old George Lucas is going to have to kick the can here, and somebody else is going to have to, swinging around and saying, hey, listen, I know this is going to sound crazy, but what do you guys think about Star Wars? As much as they don't want to let go of the the Skywalker legacy and everything, as much as they don't want to get rid of that, you figure they'd be putting out, they'd be re-releasing it in 35 millimeter every year or something, just to get people on board. It's absolutely stupid. All right, boys and girls, let's get into it. I think it's about that time to break forth the rhythm and the rhyme. Your boy Ryan Coogler had himself a movie in movie theaters. Who saw Sinners? Anybody see Sinners? I saw Sinners, and I wrote a big old giant review on it. I was going to do it for the channel and everything, but I never got around to it. Maybe I'll review that when it comes out on 4K and everything, and put my actual written review here together and everything. Trillian has seen Sinners twice so far. Very good. And one of the reasons that I didn't want to kind of get my Sinners review out there is because while I like the movie, I am certainly not as in love with it as everyone else is. It's fine. It's fine. I don't have too many of a problem with it. I just got that's a little problem. But we'll talk about that when the 4K comes out, so I'm excited for that. Again, thank you guys for hanging out. Do me a big old favor here, will you? Why don't you throw a like and subscribe on this bad boy? We love you so much if you do. Gonna repurpose some of these things later and everything, put some shorts out and whatnot. The channel's kind of growing and stuff. We hit 19,000 subscribers today. So again, we want to thank you guys for all your love and support, man. We really appreciate that. All of your everything from your Patreon support to the super chats and everything in between, man. It really means a whole bunch. So thank you guys. All right, let's get into it. Your boy Ryan Coogler is going around and your boy Ryan Coogler is going around and doing a little bit of promotion. My guess is for Sinners, coming out on 4K and not too awful long. So what do you do when you're out on tour and you're a filmmaker? That's right, boy. You head on down to the Criterion Closet. Man, I'm excited to see what old Ryan Coogler's got here for us. I feel like we probably know maybe a couple of things. There's a couple of what I would just call obvious choices and stuff like that. But if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. I think Coogler might have been in the Criterion Closet previously. So maybe, just maybe, we'll see something a little bit different. Let's find out.
Coogler here, and I'm going to pick out some of my favorite films that are in the Criterion.
First of all, man, let me say something. I love Ryan Coogler's voice. I love everything about this, the style of this man and everything. He just sounds like a dude that just hung out around the way. But when you start to hear him and stuff, he's like, oh my God, this dude, he might talk like he's dumb, but he's smart as hell. He's a very smart guy. He just talks like every street dude that I've known, which is kind of awesome. Like it's like he's a real one, man.
The collection, talk about him a little bit. Hope y'all enjoy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start over here in this section with this one. It's the second movie I remember seeing, or the third movie I remember seeing.
Yeah.
And my dad took me to see it. I was very young. I was probably about 6 years old. I saw it at the Grand Lake Theater in Oakland, California, projected on film. And this movie changed my life.
For those of you that can't read, that's Malcolm X, Spike Lee's Malcolm X. I recently bought that in probably 2 Criterion sales ago in 4K and everything. It wasn't on the list for me to get, but all of a sudden I was just like, it popped out there and I saw Denzel and you're like, man, you ain't gonna go wrong with Denzel.
In my opinion, Spike Lee has made 2 of the best film openings that I've ever seen. One of them is this one. The other one is Do the Right Thing with Rosie Perez. The way that so many people meet Malcolm X is through audio, through recording of his speeches. You know, that was how I would first hear him as a kid, and he juxtaposes it with.
Do you think they put Ryan Coogler like in a proper closet and everything? Because I think we've all figured out by now that they at least have the Criterion van that they go around in and everything. I don't know that they would put Ryan Coogler in a van to do all this stuff, right? They'd probably let him just like in the regular building. It's got to, right? Criterion, hook me up so I can report back.
Footage of the assault of Rodney King by members of the Los Angeles Police Department, and he juxtaposes that with an American flag that burns into the shape of an X. And somehow that's not the best part of the movie. It's just an incredible movie with just loaded with talent and incredible performances. This film will live forever. So I'm gonna take this one home, and add it to my personal collection. This is Love Jones. It's a perfect movie.
Love Jones. Can't say I'm familiar. Hit me, Ryan Coogler.
I'm a hopeless romantic, as you can see from some of these movies I'm gonna grab.
I was about to say, from some of the films that you've made, I don't know that would have been the case, but okay. All right, he's better.
The performances from Lorenz Tate and Nia Long in this movie are exceptional. The chemistry is off the charts. The intricacy of it. The film got an incredible dynamic range, like of scenes of a lot of talking and scenes of none. And shouts out to the city of Chicago, man. Which is gonna bring me to this other one. It's also set in Chicago. Where are you? This is Thief.
Oh yeah, Michael Mann's Thief. An excellent choice.
By Michael Mann, and I'm gonna grab another movie.
What do you think first?
Has to be in conversation with this. All right, so this is Thief, by the great Michael Mann.
Following,
and this is Following.
Yeah, there you go. I was about to say, like, I couldn't see because you're aiming it towards the light, Ryan. I know that's how you need to be able to read it on that end, but it doesn't help for the camera. I got Nolan's Following way back when on DVD, when it was actually quite hard to find on DVD for some time. It was wildly expensive to get it. And I happened to be at Manifest Discs and Tapes in Charlotte, North Carolina. Rest in peace. And I saw The Following, and like it was like $15 or less. It was cheap compared to I was like, oh my God, this is out here. And I still felt like I paid like a lot of money for that. So I never bought, kind of any of the upgrades or anything. Let me know in the chat if you've seen that Following Criterion Blu-ray and if it's worth the upgrade.
By Christopher Nolan, who's a mentor of mine, right? And I do think
that's a wild ass thing to say for a guy that's like 40 years old. Like, oh yeah, Christopher Nolan, mentor of mine.
In observing Chris's movies, I think that Michael Mann is a big influence, and you can feel it quite a bit when you look at this film. If you haven't seen this movie, holy fucking shit, this movie.
All right, now listen, I like Thief, but don't let him oversell you on this. Like this, that Thief, for most people is not going to get a holy fucking shit. I'll tell you that right now.
What I've heard, or a rumor about this film is this is the movie that made wet downs a thing. Wet down, for y'all don't know, is when you got enough money to. I mean, this is probably like a waste of water, you know what I'm saying? But when you got enough money to have a truck wet your streets down, and what it does is it makes the for nighttime photography, it makes the streets reflective, and the performance of the villain in this, and how
the wet down is so unappreciated. I love the wet down. Michael Mann certainly was kind of the king of that and everything. But anytime that you see a shot at night and that parking lot or asphalt or whatever is glistening, that's your wet down right there. Looks like it just rained 5 seconds ago. And I don't give a damn where you live, man. In movies, that needs to be a thing. Why? Because it's just so good looking. It photographs so well. It just sparkles the road off and everything. Just adds so much character to everything you're looking at. The wet down's the shit, man. Come on.
The performance is captured. You slowly peeling back the onion about how dangerous and how evil this dude is. Michael Mann just did a brilliant job, which takes me to this.
Yeah.
This is my guy. I come to know him. I've come to know his wife. Amazing people. First and foremost, they just lovers of cinema. They lovers of family. The world is richer because they making movies.
What would I want to be a fly on the wall between the Ryan Coogler and Christopher Nolan dinner. two people that, at least from an auditory perspective, couldn't sound more opposite. One just being, California guy, other being fake English guy. He's American, everybody. Come on now.
And it's just brilliant because it's obviously the most indie you'll ever see. Mr. Nolan, he finding his way. A lot of the Christopher Nolan trademarks are here in this movie, so it's great. If you're coming up, you know what I'm saying, to get a little taste of this. When I was coming up, all
right, late spring, Seven Samurai. Got Seven Samurai on the Blu-rays myself.
As a young man, there were two filmmakers that were making movies at the same time. That were in conversation with each other. That was Spike Lee and I was John Singleton, rest in peace. Both of those filmmakers mean the world to me as an American filmmaker, as an African American filmmaker.
What do you guys think? Singleton versus Spike Lee. Who you like better?
And just their movies taught me things. Some time ago, the same thing was happening in the country of Japan. You have Akira Kurosawa, and you have another gentleman named Yasujiro Ozu that were epic films.
Ozu's something that I gotta get into. I gotta get into that guy. I need to do more in my filling in the blank series. That'll get me on the road to watching some things I haven't watched before.
Filmmakers making films at the same time and making very different types of films. Right? Much has been said about this film. What I think he was the greatest at, in terms of the things I've learned from watching his films, is the art of blocking. The other thing he's great at is poetic fallacy, choosing when to use win and ring. It's just insane. Ozu is a filmmaker who he didn't.
I felt like if I sat down in that jacket, I'd be wrinkling that thing up so much. I couldn't do it.
Give a shit about a lot of rules. Most importantly, a rule that we spent a lot of time learning about, which is the 180-degree line. This is a imaginary line between conversations because film is a two-dimensional visual art form. If you move the camera across this imaginary line, what will happen in the editorial process is it will look like characters are looking in different directions, which can sometimes be confusing or can put an audience in a state of unease. Ozu didn't give a fuck about the line. I mean, he would jump it all the time. He also was very famous for shooting doorways. But what I'm going to talk to you about with Ozu right now in this movie is his capacity for the most emotional endings you'll ever see in your life. Holding your hand throughout a story, and making you fall in love with characters, and then just ripping your heart out at the end of the movie in a way that oftentimes leaves you sobbing, but also in a way that makes you question everything that you saw before. Late Spring is a great example of this. Late Spring was the first Ozu movie I ever saw. I saw it before I had.
Little respect to Ryan Coogler here, because he is actually doing more legwork than the majority of people that do these Criterion Closet stuff. Most of them are they've got max 3 or 4 different, sentences that they'll put together to describe a movie that they've seen or the reason that they like it and blah, blah, blah. He's actually giving reasons, actual full reasons and stuff why he's doing, and explanations to you, as opposed to just going like, hey, yeah, I really like Pan's Labyrinth. It's a real good one. Guillermo del Toro got some real good style about him. On to the next movie. Like that's how they do it. So I got little props to Coogler for going in a little bit.
I had children. Obviously, I was in my 20s. And it's a story about a father and a daughter at his heart. Watching this movie, along with making my first film, Fruitvale Station, made me realize that I wanted to be a father.
So I just started getting up them girls, man, and now I'm Ryan Coogler, so now I can really do it. Oh, baby, oh yeah, by the way, I directed those Black Panther movies, man. Come on now. Ryan ain't got no problems.
Devil in a Blue Dress by hometown hero Carl Franklin. So this movie's a masterpiece. Massive influence on my latest picture, Sinners. But it's a great migration movie. It's about Los Angeles, but the characters are all from Houston. And it's just beautiful, man. It's a Walter Mosley adaptation. My admiration for this film has only deepened. But it's just an incredible piece of cinema and an incredible film noir. Love and Basketball by the great Gina Prince Bythewood. So look, me and my
Love and Basketball was a huge thing when it came out and stuff. That was like it was very much talked about in the indie scene.
My producer partner and wife, Zenzi Coogler, we both met as athletes. We met on the track field. Yeah, man, this movie is about two athletes falling in love with each other, dipping in and out of each other's lives in their pursuit of athletic greatness. And I can't look at this movie and not see us. I can't look at this movie and not think about where I was when I first saw it. I was in high school. It just leans into the romance. I love the ending of this movie. The ending of this movie just puts a lump in your throat. Like, who's watching who and what professional game. I mean, look, this is the one. You know what I'm saying? This is going in the bag. Thank y'all for the Blu-rays and 4Ks and all of that good stuff. I'm gonna enjoy this. Y'all take care.
Yeah, man. That's Ryan Coogler's Criterion Closet collection there and everything. Let me go ahead and hit a like on that. Why am I not subscribed to this channel already? Oh, I am. It just says subscribe. No, I don't have all the bell notifications because I don't need all that bell stuff. You know what I'm talking about. We'll leave a little link down here in the show notes as well because that's how you're supposed to do it. Bam. All right. We got Kathleen Kennedy done. We got Ryan Coogler done. Let's see. Up next. Get everything set here. Up next, we got my boy, CHH again. I wonder if he'll have adjusted things since my last yelling at him here and everything. Christian, I love you. It's fine. But I saw this and I was just like, ooh, what's this all about here? Jason Universe trolls entire fan base on Friday the 13th. CHH, tell us what's what.
You're giving us hee-hees and ha-has. You're giving us tchotchkes.
Oh, we got a rant coming.
Well, guys, I hope everybody had a great Friday the 13th. I know I did. I actually saw the original film in the theater, and I'm actually going to be doing a video adjacent to that experience coming up.
Adjacent, you so-and-so.
Very soon. So you guys stay tuned for that. But there's a lot more to come when it comes to that sort of thing. I guess we're going to talk today about the Jason Universe trolling us yet again. That's right. We got trolled yet again. There is some news, but nobody seemed to be happy about any of this. I want to get into the silliness that they thought was going to be a big deal for everybody. They talked it up as a big deal. All these outlets were reporting big news coming from the Jason Universe tomorrow for Friday the 13th, which was yesterday. And a lot of it just ended up being fluff, garbage, stuff that nobody was interested in. Stuff that nobody...
So they're taking cues from Marvel? Thank you.
...is excited about. So we're going to get right into it, guys. We're going to look into the stuff that they said, the stuff that they announced, and one thing in particular that just makes no utter sense. So we are going to be referencing Bloody Disgusting, who I do want to shout out because they actually promoted my candle company, You Need a Candles, yesterday for our Jason Takes Manhattan candle sale.
Very nice.
So shout out to them, but we are going to be referencing them. So let's get started, guys. Okay, so we got three things we're going to talk about. The first thing.
Look at this. Look at this. We're incepting everybody. Let me see if I can. Here we go. Bam. Now we're all in it together.
Is Crystal Lake adds 3 series regulars, including Cameron Scoggins as legacy character Dorf. This, I mean, some people were excited a little bit about this,
And when Dorf goes fishing, boy, you know it's going to be a good time.
but excited isn't even the right word. I think people were just like, well, at least there's movement with the TV show, but really, is this the big news? Let's just kind of read about what this is. All right, guys. Cameron Scoggins, Devin Kessler, and newcomer Gwendolyn Sundstrom have joined Crystal Lake as series regulars. Notably, Scoggins will play Dorf, the police officer portrayed by Ron Milkey in the original Friday the 13th. Kessler will play Brianna Brooks, and Sundstrom will play Grace. They joined the previously announced Linda Cardellini, who people were excited when she got casted. And
Linda Cardellini is so fine. My word. Sign me up, whatever this is.
rightfully so, as Mrs. Voorhees, and William Catlett
As Mrs. Voorhees? Mrs. Voorhees, I think you're trying to seduce me.
Abigail as Lavon Brooks in the expanded prequel series from A24 and Peacock. Pretty heavy emphasis on the word prequel right there. So apparently this is going to be taking place
Jason's in utero.
Before the first movie, obviously. The 8-episode series is set to be directed by Michael Lennox, who did Dairy Girls, Celine Held, and Logan George, Caddo Lake, and Quinn Tron, The Pit. In the show, Mrs. Voorhees is a mother who gave up a singing career to raise her special needs child, only to take a dark.
What do you hope she sings? I hope it's like kind of like cabaret. Na 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 na.
Term when she loses her son, Jason Voorhees. Showrunner Brad Caleb Kane referred to Scoggins as one of many legacy from the original film to appear in the series. So stay tuned for more updates as the series heeds.
Not for nothing, but like, who gives a crap about people that were in, previous Friday the 13th movies? And let's be honest, if any of the ones that were in it that were, worth a damn, aren't they dead?
Into production. I mean, what do we think about this, guys? I'm gonna bring it to you. I mean, first off, 8 episodes. That means that they're probably going to be hour length. This will probably be something that's drama oriented in regards to Pamela's character. Horror may not even be the right word to describe what this is going to be. I guess
slapstick comedy. Please be slapstick comedy.
Yes, we'll see. I mean, of course, it's going to have to be some sort of drama with the situation that leads up to possibly, the death of Jason. Whether it takes place with Jason as a young boy in the beginning or Jason.
What are we hitting here, Christian? You don't have music up at work. You hear that? It's driving me bananas.
Jason drowns pretty immediately.
Right there. You see it?
I don't know. That's what we don't know.
Oh, Lord have mercy. You're not going to not hear it now. Sorry.
But, they have stated that they have the rights to use everything they want. Any look of Jason, anything they want. So with this being a prequel, there is a notion that maybe there can be flash forward sequences years later where we're seeing Jason in the woods.
I want them to do weird opposite stuff where you start with Jason, like, when he's in his teens and stuff, and then you fast forward all the way to like Jason X. And those are the two things that you flash forward. We don't talk about anything else in between.
Woods, we don't know, but they made sure they let us know that they have the rights to use whatever they want. So, take that with either a grain of salt or take it for what it is. All right, guys. So the next thing we're going to look at right here is the Jason universe is coming to.
Splatstick is an amazing subgenre name. If that's not a thing people are already doing, by George, they needs to do it.
Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando and Hollywood with original haunt. The Jason universe, not necessarily Friday the 13th universe, but the Jason universe.
It's just dudes named Jason. It's just dudes named Jason that are around here. Here's Jason Sudeikis. Here's I just ran out of Jasons. I don't know that this thing will be very well populated.
So this is something we're going to get into right now. Let's see what this is about.
Jason Schwartzman. There you go. There's one.
Halloween Horror Nights kicks off Friday the 13th with
Jason Bateman. I'm getting back on track. Don't worry.
Big news that Jason is returning to the event this Halloween season with an official Jason Universe attraction. The all-original haunted house takes guests back to summer camp where the gruesome legend was born. The reckoning begins on Friday, August 29th at Universal Orlando Resort and Thursday, September 4th at Universal Studios Hollywood. Let's see. The Jason Universe will take Halloween Horror Nights guests on a Vengeance tour through the summer camp to see where it all began, from the creaking
Hi, we're here for the Vengeance tour.
floorboards of Jason's ramshackle cabin to the decaying main lodge and the eerie forest that offers no refuge for his victims. Around every corner, fans will be inundated with infamous killer moments from Jason's heinous homicidal career. That's interesting. Inundated with infamous killer moments from Jason's homicidal career as he taunts and stalks his victim.
That means rip-off versions of things that were in the movies that were that are not going to be, executed nearly as well.
Who learn too late that the legend is real. Bringing Jason Voorhees to Halloween Horror Nights is an all-original haunted house and a major moment for fans and us, says Horror Inc.'s CMO Sherry Khan. Jason Universe taps into 4 decades of horror legacy and reinvents for a new generation, combining immersive storytelling and cinematic detail that only Universal Studios can deliver. This is more than a haunted house. It's a full-on...
What if there was just a room that was filled with Kevin Bacon's wiener from the original Friday the 13th?
Tribute to one of the most iconic slashers in pop culture. Now, the question with this is, you hear right here, this is what doesn't make any sense to me. They're using moments from, obviously, from the beginning, meaning part 1. Possibly they could have like sleeping bag moments, maybe the cryogenic moments. I'm sure there'll be some classic, scenes from some of the Paramount films. Why isn't this called Friday the 13th? The most iconic title in horror, at least one of them.
Sean Cunningham's like, you got to pay me. You're going to use that. The name Jason, that's open. That's open season.
Why is it got to be called the Jason Universe? Why is this haunted house attraction not called, the Friday the 13th experience? It's so iconic. I don't understand what the point of that is. The Jason Universe. And last but not least, guys, this is probably the strangest of all the announcements. This one is bafflingly weird. Are you guys ready?
I am ready. Uh-oh.
NECA and Jason join forces on upcoming collectibles, but not Friday the 13th collectibles, Jason Universe collectibles. Let's see what the hell this is about. Okay, guys. A multi-platform expansion of the Friday the 13th franchise from its original owners, the Jason Universe officially launched with a brand new Jason Voorhees redesign earlier this year, as we know, and the new version of Jason will soon be getting his own
Voorhees verse. That's better than Jason verse. But again, I think Voorhees, you got to pay for that.
And that new version of Jason will soon be getting his own NECA toys. So this Jason, there's going to be a NECA toy for this.
I could be wrong. I think this is the new Jason design with these eyes here, and people are bitching about the eyes, and I can see why. I don't like them. For those of you just like, I don't see a difference. You're not a fan. You ain't one of the real ones. This is no good. It sounds so silly to look at just this plain ass hockey mask and say this isn't right. But for those of you that are horror fans, you know why.
Like, if they're actually making a toy like this, the only reason I would get it, or anybody else for that matter, is because it's so bad it's good. But the reality is, like, come on.
I mean, it's not like Halloween. Was it 4? 3 and 4 really had pretty bad masks and stuff like that. I don't know if it's quite as bad as Halloween 4.
We're making NECA toys of this. The NECA team has taken to social media to tease the upcoming.
I wonder if NECA team, I don't know.
Collaboration with the Jason Universe, though we have no further details. We can expect to see upcoming toys and collectibles based on the new Jason redesign in the coming months, which was created in partnership with legend Greg Nicotero. We strive to maintain. We read that already. We're incredibly excited to bring Jason Voorhees back into the lives of fans in such a bold, fresh way. We're thrilled to be working alongside Horror Inc. on the next chapter of the franchise and Jason's legacy, and we share the passion. Together, we're making sure this delivers everything longtime fans have been craving for while opening the door to new generations.
What? Okay.
So the launching pad with Crystal Lake, we're done. That's the news that we have. But guys, this is strike 2. I have to be totally honest. Strike 1 was the reveal of this Jason. That looks terrible. Strike two is telling us that you've got everybody's saying, get ready for Friday the 13th this year. There's some major news. That's strike two. Guys, give us something real. Give us something concrete. Tell us you're working on a film. Tell us you have scripts you're optioning.
Friday the 13th, the musical.
Give us something. Yes, the TV show, people are kind of excited about it, but TV shows, when I'm in my
Trying to find out what's clicking on his end. What's giving the I can't even recreate it.
my time, TV shows is where things went to die. TV shows. We're getting a prequel about Mrs. Voorhees.
I want to say it's the microphone, but like when I'm watching and stuff, I don't think it's the microphone. I think it's something else. I got to have a microphone in my face, man. I don't know that I could have one just attached to me that I'd just be like, that'd be no good.
Now, I love Pamela Voorhees, but I'm not jaded enough to think that that's able to maintain a fan base.
Nope.
It's not. You got.
It was just like this. I had like the same thoughts, and like you guys can tell me different if you think otherwise. But like when they had that Bates Motel, I've heard it's good, but like I'm not going to sit there and watch that. It's like, why would I watch that? Like, I mean, it took me 20 years, 30 plus years to watch Psycho 2, for heaven's sake. But like, why would you? Why?
You need to bring Jason back. At least tell us you're optioning scripts right now. Give us something. You guys are giving us nothing. You're giving us fluff. You're telling us that this computer-generated Jason that you guys designed with Greg Nicotero is getting...
I don't think he believes Greg Nicotero worked on that. Greg Nicotero, if you will.
A toy. There's no movie. Forget the fact that
that is it, and I think that is becoming the problem with some of these horror icons. Is that they've become just that, just icons. They've become Mickey Mouse. You're just the face of this product and everything. You're not like they're not thinking about it. Because like, when's the last time you thought about a really thought-provoking Mickey film? Doesn't happen. Doesn't exist. Or it's like, oh man, this new original Mickey Mouse film, because Mickey Mouse isn't a character to Disney anymore. Mickey Mouse is just a mascot. And I think for horror right now, your Jason Voorhees, your Freddy Kruegers, your Michael Myers, they're all just kind of mascots. And they just trot them out like Santa Claus, but they're like year-round Santa Clauses.
Jason design is lackluster. There's nothing to accompany it.
He's wearing a work shirt.
No movie. There's supposed to be a video game. We have nothing about that yet. There's nothing to accompany this. We have no connective tissue to this Jason design that there's nothing. You guys are doing everything ass backwards. Everything ass backwards. Give us something concrete. Give us something to chew on. Give us some hope that a movie's coming. 2009.
Yeah.
You told us you told us you've got the rights to everything, Jason Universe. You told us that you've got everything. You're giving us hee-hees and ha-has. You're giving us tchotchkes.
That's all they want, man. That's all that they are to you right now. You to them are just a dollar sign. Horror fans are, and here's the thing, and I'm going to say it. Horror fans, you're marks. You're the biggest bunch of marks that there ever was. You put something on a t-shirt or a poster or anything else like that, you ding-dongs are going to go buy it. I've been one of these people for different, product lines and stuff in the past. I get it. But horror fans, y'all a special breed. Y'all will keep buying that same old thing, and guess what? They're going to still keep doing it. Because if you buy it, they're going to do it.
Clearly, you guys think that there's value here. How much money did Halloween 2018 make?
A good amount.
This is strike, guys. We need something concrete. Give us something to legitimately be excited about, guys. This is strike 2, and I know I'm not the only one.
He's mad.
There you have it, guys. That's going to be it for now. We're getting trolled by this Jason universe. We're getting trolled. I really hope that they get it together and we get something newsworthy of a movie or something legitimate soon. Let me know what you guys think. This is your old pal CHH. I'll holler at you guys very, very soon.
Man,
take care. Huge giant thank you to all of my
he's none too happy with this. We're gonna go ahead and throw a big old thumbs up on that one and shoot you guys a link in the chat for all of that. Good buddy CHH. He gave me permission, man. He was just like, hey, you ever want to use any of my videos, you go right ahead, and I will. CHH, thank you very much, buddy. I've got no viewers. I've got to do something, and you know, it's very bizarre because I will go through and put together all kinds of videos where I take a long ass time to do stuff, and guess how many people watch them? Fucking goose egg. So we're gonna skid on the surface here for a little bit, and then when things take off right, and some people are actually watching, that's when I'll actually start, you know, producing full-fledged, honest to God pieces again. So maybe one day. All right, well, let's get our next video up here. This video was out on premiered on Shudder not too awful long ago, and I didn't get a chance to watch it. I'm not watching a lot of the live shows now. I wish I was. I should. I've been a Shudder subscriber since the original days here and everything. And, of course, I'm a big fan of Joe Bob Briggs at that point. And he's got a little video that they put out called I believe it's called, let's see here. Boop, boop, boop. Scroll. Joe Bob's History of the Drive-In. That's from the last Drive-In on Shudder. Our good old buddy, Joe Bob Briggs, which, by the way, Joe Bob and Darcy came to Charlotte a couple years back. And look at it. Things like, hey, go to sleep. Joe Bob and Darcy came to Charlotte with Joe Bob's How Redneck Saved Hollywood not too awful. Probably about 5 years ago almost at this point. But they came through super awesome, Joe Bob and Darcy. Darcy far taller than one might suspect. Big old gal. I was, you know, like, holy cow. And Joe Bob's a big old dude too. And again, coming from somebody that's like, you know, that's 6'3", when I walk around and I go, wow, somebody's big. That's a tall person right there. So we're going to check out Joe Bob's History of the Drive-In. Let's check it out.
Of Richard Hollingshead Jr., the inventor of the drive-in.
Wow. You know me well, sir.
And because I know you well.
Yes,
the
you
biography of Richard Hollingshead Jr. actually begins in 1888 when Richard M. Hollingshead Sr. used his parents' stove in Merchantville, New Jersey to concoct an original recipe for harness dressing.
What?
I'm waiting for your oohs and your ahs, Darcy.
Harness dressing is great. By the way, show in the chat if you've been to a drive-in or you still have a drive-in around you. Let me know.
Oh, sorry. Ooh, wow. Harness.
Harness dressing
Wow.
is a lubricant that you put on the leather harness used in a horse-drawn carriage, and it keeps the leather in good condition.
Wow, amazing.
And New Jersey is a place where stuff gets invented. right?
Obviously, yes.
Yeah, because you know Thomas Edison.
Yes.
And actually movies themselves were invented in New Jersey, West Orange, New Jersey, in the Edison Laboratory.
Yes, you already talked about that on the slasher special.
Right. Okay. So pretty soon, Richard Hollingshead Sr. is inventing all kinds of equally boring products: leather polish, stove polish, carriage soap, hoof dressing, castor axle oil, carriage top dressing. All these products sell like crazy, and he builds this big factory and corporate headquarters in Camden, New Jersey, right across the river from Philadelphia, at a time when Camden was just booming with innovative new companies like Campbell's Soup.
You talked about that too.
Right. Okay. So the Hollingshead family becomes rich, and little Richard Jr. is born.
Little Richard Jr. Man, what I wouldn't pay to see a little Richard Jr.
in 1900 in Riverton, New Jersey, which is a wealthy suburb of Camden. They have a famous yacht club there on the Delaware River. And while Richard Jr. is growing up, his daddy transitions from horse stuff to car stuff and introduces the Whiz brand of auto products. You can still buy Whiz brand products today.
Put a little whiz in your car.
They're just as boring as the horse-drawn carriage products. But Richard Jr. leaves home at age 14 to attend the manliest military academy in New York, and then comes home just as World War I is ending. And so he becomes a foreman at Hollingshead Chemical. And he ends up supervising 98 automotive products, running sales for all the polishes and soaps and cleaning agents and floor wax and insecticides.
And even julienne fries.
Hollingsheads are just inventing new chemicals left and right, churning them out at the plant and dominating that business. And then the Depression hits. And Richard Jr. is trying to figure out how the company is going to survive. And he notices that there are two things that most people will not give up, no matter how poor they get. One is their car, and one is going to the movies. And so he's thinking about.
Remember how that used to be a thing, everybody? People would always put entertainment. People would go do entertainment and stuff. That is not the case today, boy.
This when his mom mentions to him that she doesn't really like going to the movies because she's too large for the chairs. She was.
God, are we about to find out that the drive-in was invented because the inventor's mom's ass was too fat to sit inside of a movie theater seat? So they were just like, what if we just put you in the car? Can we squeeze your fat ass in the car for 2 seconds, please? Then would you watch a movie? If we brought the movies outdoors, would your big fat ass be able to watch movies then? God, mother, you're terrible.
Was quite a large woman. And Richard decides if people could watch the movie from their cars, many more people would attend. So he goes.
It also helps with the farting situation. You ever been in a theater and people just farting up a storm? Well, if you're in your car, not a problem. Unless the person farts in your car, then you got an extra big problem.
To work like a true scientist. He nails a giant sheet to a tree in his backyard, and he mounts a Kodak projector on the hood of his car, and he starts experimenting with sound thanks to RCA Victor, which was based in Camden at the time, and they were more than willing to help him out. And he figured out the precise angle that the front tires of one car would have to be raised in order to see over the car in front of it, and he became obsessed with this idea. And in 1930, he received an actual patent for a drive-in theater. And by 1933, he was ready to go. And
see, you wouldn't think all the drive-in movie theater would be that old. That's pretty cool.
He only made two mistakes, as far as I can tell. One mistake was that he bought land right by the airport. So Camden Central Airport was the airport serving Philadelphia, the third largest city in America. And then the second mistake he made is that he edited the movies. He cut the movies. Because one of the problems that drive-ins have, they've always had this problem, is that they can't start showing movies until it gets dark. So indoor theaters might be able to show a movie 8 times a day, but drive-ins only have one good time to show the movie, sunset.
You know what is kind of cool though and stuff now, if you haven't seen it, some of these laser projectors, woo-wee, they are impressive. Now I haven't seen a ton that are super impressive in like honest to God, like crazy daylight and everything. But you will see some at bars and different things now and then in very kind of like medium to highlight situations here and everything. And those lasers, man, they are just as bright as any kind of, they're brighter really than any light bulb that you'll see out there for them. It's pretty damn impressive.
And then a second showing. And then if they're really lucky and the running time is short on the first two movies, they get that third showing. So Hollingshead, he wanted that third showing. His show times were 8:30, 10, and 11:30. So when he advertised the theater, he told people the movies were, quote, abridged features with all dull, uninteresting parts omitted.
That is either the best or the worst. It sucks because it's obviously not the thing as it was intended to be seen, and someone else has got their fingers in the pie, messing around and doing stuff they ought not. But if he takes all the garbage out,
and people never like.
You imagine a 90-minute James Cameron movie? Mwah, beautiful.
like it when you monkey with content. And one more thing, he mounted 3 giant RCA Victor speakers inside the screen, and they worked pretty well, but wind would be a problem with them. It wasn't until after World War II that RCA developed the in-car speakers that hung on the poles, So his cost of construction was $60,000. He had a 500 car capacity, and he opened with a bang. That first year, people came from all over the country to see this place. But after 14 months, he gave up. The economics just didn't work. The studios were afraid of him, so they refused to sell him their best movies, but they still charge.
Well, I mean, I suppose at the same time too, if he's going through and chopping them up and everything, I wouldn't be so keen on handing my films over to this guy either.
It's top price for the B movies, $400 every time you showed one. So, for example, the movie on opening night was Wives Beware, which was an American retitle of a forgettable British comedy called Two White Arms, starring Adolphe Menjou and a bunch of sophisticates in tuxedos. So Hollingshead couldn't charge high enough admission price to turn a profit. He charged $0.25 for each car and $0.25 for each person. And he had not yet discovered the basic principle of running a drive-in, which is you don't make money on the movie, you make money on the food.
That's what most people need to understand today, and that is where the theaters themselves today are lacking and falling behind, is they need to realize that they are in a butts in seats business. You need to get the actual ticket prices lower. You need to get concession prices lower. These things will ultimately lead to more sales, both in tickets and concessions. I've said it many a time before. If you could go in on a Monday through Thursday and buy a ticket and popcorn and a drink for $10, you would see people go to the movie theater like crazy. Start going through the roofs. Even if you've got no change to actual programming in and of itself, the actual price dip, I think, would be at least a little bit much of a differentiation to get people to start going out. But if you then follow that up with actual, proper good films and stuff, things that people are interested in, that's what's going to get you across the finish line and make sure that Hollywood doesn't turn into the steaming pile of garbage that is quickly, turning itself into.
And
I guess that's the end of that. Shit, and Shudder, you really kind of, you're like, listen, we're done. We're done. Joe Bob, you get nothing out there. I'm going to go ahead and give a like on that, even though Shudder kind of cut him off before things are going. I didn't think we had too much time left.
You're giving us hee-hees and ha-has.
Quiet, Christian. Drop that link down there in the show notes, or the chat, rather. All right. Well, I think we are about at the end of our evening here. I've got a couple more videos and stuff, but I think we're going to save those for a later date. Again, I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out, chatting, leaving also. So let me got a couple of chats here I want to take a look at. Let me embiggen my screen a little bit so I can read. Trillian says, we have the Stars and Stripes drive-in. I haven't been since, I think it was New Mutants. New Mutants, that was quite some time ago. Let's get the other one that you got in there. I threw in my Unaltered Star Wars Episode 4 disc from the set that I mentioned, and it looks, I think, pretty good. I just changed my DVD or my TV picture size to zoom, and it fits the screen nicely. Absolutely. The weird thing is, though, you'd be awful surprised. There are a lot of TVs today that, for whatever reason, they have taken out that zoom feature. It's not great. Some DVD players will have it built in, possibly. That's a possibility, but some of them don't. So you never really know with that. So I always say, be careful with that. But I would say that is kind of closely the equivalent to what I've got with the what is ultimately the laser disc that they duped out onto DVD back in the day on eBay, when you could just buy anything. You could buy anything there, including bootleg versions of the laser disc of Star Wars, because they got all three of the movies plus a fourth bonus disc, all of the special features. They have the commentary on the top of it and stuff. So it was pretty sweet to have those DVDs and everything. But yeah, so yeah, definitely watch out for that feature if you get a new TV, because some of them do not have that zoom in there, unless you want to go crazy and be like one of those, I got a mad VR like where you pay like $4,000. You can scale your screen to however you want, but you're going to pay out the nose for it. I can definitely tell you that. Again, I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out, checking out the Criterion Closet here with our good old buddy Ryan Coogler and whatnot. And hopefully, listen, again, we are covering Eddie Murphy on the podcast this month and everything. We just finished up Trading Places. Next week, we are talking about The Golden Child. That's right, The Golden Child, which, believe it or not, I joked about it on the podcast. That movie in 4K from Vinegar Syndrome, the new version that they just put out, sold out. Sold out. You can't get it. So try as you might, but I think it's available on Pluto TV and a couple other places. So if you want to check out The Golden Child, we will be covering that on the podcast and doing that podcast live right here on this page. So hopefully you guys can come check out that, join in the chat as always, and we really appreciate that. And again, I want to thank you guys for coming out and hanging out this evening, and go out there and watch some movies, you dirty babies.